And we are live.
Yeah, sweet.
First episode with the logo.
Yeah, there we go. So we are here. And what are we discussing tonight, Canadian?
We're jumping into one of the most famous Jedi, Aayla Secura.
Yeah. Probably our Daddy Lucas' favorite character, I would imagine.
He's named his top three.
Top three.
It covers all of his favorites there, I would imagine.
You know, Jedi, Twilek.
Oh, you know that's his favorite, and Blue too. He probably likes that too.
Well, the only character he played in the movies was Blue. So.
All right, let's do it.
Hello there.
Let's go straight into it. I hope this is right.
Aayla Secura was a Rotitian Twi'lek female that was the Padawan to Jedi Master Quinlan Vos. As the Galactic War began, she was made general and was given command of the 327th Star Corps. Secura fought with her soldiers all across the galaxy, places like Geonosis, Quell, Coruscant, and even Felucia. And as the war drew to a close, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine executed Order 66. One of the first Jedi casualties, she was shot in the back by her troopers. The sudden death of Secura was sensed by Jedi all across the galaxy, giving many Jedi, like Caleb Dune, a small warning of things to come. Tonight, we discuss Aayla Secura, Master Jedi. Join us.
There she is. Mm-hmm. All right, so I even made an over thing tonight. I was doing big things last night. Doing big things.
Love it.
All right, so yeah, there's that's the canon part. There's not a lot in there. She was
canon's pretty small.
Yeah, she was. She's always, because of who she is, she was always in all the backgrounds, everywhere. There's actually a video, and I was going to do it, but it was so long. I would just say maybe I'll put a link in the bio in the description. There's a link, and it just says all of her appearances. And at first, I was like, "This guy screwed up. This isn't her appearances." Then I realized that if you look closely in the background, she's just like meandering around. Like, do you remember the scene where the Obi-Wan Kenobi says he lost a planet, and Yoda's like, "Oh, we had to help Master Kenobi find his planet." You remember that? And all the younglings are looking at that. If you look, like, let's say I'm Kenobi.
No.
If you look back here, she's having a conversation, and she's about as big as the tip of my finger because she's so far back there. She's having a conversation with another Jedi, and then later on, she's like walking over here, and it looks like she's just aimlessly walking back and forth in the shot. It's pretty hilarious.
There's no way.
Oh, she's there. She's in the background. She's in the hallway while he's standing in the doorway.
That's awesome.
So anyway, I made a quick
oh my
video.
God, you're right.
I told you.
And
so,
the only one
actually,
not
so I made a quick video just so you can see the canon parts that she's in. I did not put in the Clone Wars because she's obviously way more in the Clone Wars. It would take a lot. This is just the movie, so I'll show you this real quick.
Aayla Secura, White Army closes in.
All right, Skywalker, we're depending on you. Come on.
We will not be hostages to be parted.
General Kenobi has made contact with General Grievous, and we have begun our attack.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had to put a fat beat in there because I do not own any of this. All praise and honor is due to Disney and Star Wars.
I
just realized that I actually probably going to have to do this really quick before while you guys are talking about her, because I realized I didn't put all honor and praise due to Disney in the description, so I got to put that in there quick and into her, or we might be shut down pretty fast because I got a lot of stuff in there. I'm definitely getting copyright stricken when this is over with. For
That's
sure.
funny. Well, I was gonna say, for one of the most famous Jedi, maybe having less than a minute of screen time across the two.
Well, she was always there, and obviously she was well respected. Obviously,
Mhm.
and she's the only Jedi that her people, I don't know if this is good or bad, stood over her and shot her lifeless body about 300 more times. I'm not 100% sure why that was, but I did see a YouTube video say why was she shot afterwards. I didn't have the chance to watch it, but I was like, she really was shot like 100 times afterwards.
Like
She was
way
clearly dead.
more than normal.
Yeah, when she spun, she was dead then. Like she spun, she's dead. And then they just go around her and they all just kind of get in a circle. They're like, pow, 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 pow. I was like, holy but Jesus. So what do we know about her?
One of the most interesting characters because she was actually a comic character first. She wasn't introduced in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then being the apprentice to Quinlan Vos, another famous, less than a minute screen time Jedi. And on top of that, having a interesting, basically a relationship with Kit Fisto that I guess the Jedi Order took a blind eye to. they didn't seem to care much when they would freak
That seemed
out.
to happen a few times, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, when poor Anakin tries to,
Right.
it's because he probably wasn't a master, so they couldn't.
Well, it must be something to it because she became general. He became a general.
he
It
got
helps your progression.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, interesting character because more or less George Lucas picked her up. So when the comics were happening, the Republic one, she was featured in that quite heavily in the early arcs, and George Lucas was kind of shown some of the comics and he was reading through them, and he was like, "Oh, I like this character a lot."
I bet you do.
For certain reasons, especially when you see the comic panels and you compare how she looks in that compared to the films, you can see why he liked her more. So yeah, he brought her. So he brought her in, and the rest is history, basically. Having this conversation again.
Didn't we cover that?
We covered it with the Tortuga.
Yeah, we covered that for sure. 100%. You can peruse our back catalog of things.
Fortuna?
Yeah, it was Fortuna episode, I believe.
Which was one of the first.
It was wasn't it like number 2?
Yeah, I think he was after.
Because we did.
G. Grievous was first.
No, we did IG first. No, Grievous was first. Then it was Fortuna and IG, I believe.
All right, so she took place in a lot of battles.
You know, I just want to, while we're at this point, she was taken as a young Twi'lek from her planet, right? And the females there are, put into slavery. So she effectively escaped that.
She escaped slavery.
She became a slave of the Jedi. So.
She turned in one slave for another, as far as I'm concerned. From my point of view, you are the bad guys.
What's funny enough is that she does that, but she never really goes back to try and help the ones that get enslaved.
Yeah.
So I think one of her major roles was that I remember. I can't remember it. This is great for somebody who likes Star Wars. There was some kind of monster beast loose on the planet. Yeah, and I remember her having a pretty big deal with that because most of the time, she was still, even in the Clone Wars. I remember her; she was doing pretty well. But Clone Wars did this thing where, and I don't mind it because it's natural, right? But they did do this thing where, like, every time there was a female, they always found a way to make sure Ahsoka and her had a little friendship or a little weird moment where they're like, oh, let's do team up this week. Which female? And had like a little like one of those little boards, little circle things, and you go and it's like, oh, hey, Secura, and that's the team up this week. But yeah, she was pretty good. But I remember her having a pretty good role in taking down the beast. But other than that, I think she was always just kind of honestly like a background character, which is kind of
Yeah,
sucks,
she had
but
one other bigger story arc, which was more or less which was in season 1 during when the Venator crashes on the planet.
Yeah,
that was the other big story arc. But what's funny actually is their accent, the French accent they gave her, and a lot of the Twileks later on, was only developed in that Clone Wars, the 2008 one. Before that, they never established the Twileks as having like a French accent.
Huh.
It was
But
just
Hera doesn't.
Yeah, because Hera, I know she hides her accent, and we see occasionally, but like before that, like the Twileks you see in the original trilogy and what you do see in the prequels, they don't have an accent. They just speak whatever they speak.
So now they appear in, is it Return of the Jedi is the first, or did they appear before that?
It's a good question. I think I'm not sure if there was one in the cantina in episode 4. But definitely 6 would have been the first, like a couple major. You had like 2.
I think the first. I feel like the first one is in Jabba's palace, isn't it? Or am I wrong?
It must be then, because it was Bib, it was the dancer, and it was another dancer.
Yep. So they were it until Aayla comes along. And then they were discarded as far as George Lucas was concerned.
Well, they were never discarded. They were always close to his heart. He just kept it for his own personal fan fiction.
He had his own collection. He had his own collection of action figures we didn't know.
Yeah, so honestly, I mean, that's it as far as like her canon goes. She was an awesome Jedi. They made her Jedi Master pretty quick, and at the start of the war, they made her Master Jedi, and then they made her General. And she was pretty. She's pretty known for, from what I read, fighting alongside her guys. A lot of the Jedi were, but she was yeah, she was definitely known for running right in with them and doing that. So you would think that Bly, was it? I think it was. Was that her lieutenant?
Commander Bly, yeah.
Yeah. So you would think that Bly would have liked her, but apparently no. He apparently had no problems putting one in her back. So all that was for fakeness. But yeah, other than that's it. She died in a very colorful jungle in a very unfortunate way.
Probably one of the worst. Honestly, probably one of the worst looking deaths of them all. Her just throwing her hands up and spinning.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Right.
Like, I have a lot of problems.
At least the lightsaber should have ignited for a second.
I mean, I don't have a problem with them dying, like, and not necessarily dignified. They all don't have to like.
I mean, one got blown up on a speeder bike.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be like, I'm going to turn around and block 20 blows, and fight to the end. You can have someone shot in the back, but I think it would have been just as good and not silly ballerina spin if they had just shot her in the back. She just fell and they just stood over and shooting her. I think that would have been even more alarming. So, and I think that covers that as far as the movies and stuff goes. Should we just move into the her appearances in other places?
Yeah, her whole expanded Legends material. Definitely the most interesting parts of her character. So
as long as that employee took care of his job, looks like he did.
Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, here it is. All right. So let me just share my screen and then we'll get going.
I didn't look at it this week. It's all a surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you didn't look at it? That's scary. I assume you two are going to look at it because
I looked at it to make sure.
To make sure.
I asked for a request in there, so.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to with that. He's a good fella, but he'll pull some shit if you don't watch him. All right. So this is the Bounty Hunters, episode 33. Wow.
I know, 33 already. So this one here, just you threw it the first one, I suppose. It's basically the first action figure of Aayla Secura.
You know, the funny thing is, I actually might have this because I think this is going to sound way worse than Dallas Ventures Toys. They're actually near me. Her legs are spread like this, and they don't unspread. I know. Trust me, I know. Who
George specifically had wanted that one requested.
I'm quite aware of what it sounds like I'm saying. But I have her loose. Oh my God, this is gonna be worse. I have her loose. And I noticed her legs don't unspread, so I just figured that she was riding on top of like some kind of beast or something. But I think that's because she's in these early ones. They did stuff like they had a ground where you like a little peg. You see the little
Platform,
peg. Yeah. So that's probably what it is.
That's gonna get clipped 100%.
Let's just move past that. All right.
So
that's the only figure. Is
well, that's the first one. There was another one, and then there's the Black Series ones, basically.
Oh, there is.
There is a Black Series one. Not. It looks almost the exact same as that one, except it's not. She's closed. So yeah. Otherwise, anyways, so the appearances for her has quite a lot of comic appearances, but essentially her first appearance in general is issue 19 of Star Wars, the 98 series, and that's the same cover appearance. After that, he has many story arcs and issues showing up. But ultimately, the other big issues to talk about is Tales 14, which is the first moment of romance between her and Kit Fisto. She also has her own one-shot, and it's her first solo story, basically, is the Jedi Aayla Secura issue.
Yeah.
And then later on, she has her death portrayed in the Revenge of the Sith issue 3 adaptation. And then there's some two interesting Dallas Comic Con programs that she's on of note. And then in canon, her technically first appearance in canon is the Darth Maul Son of Dathomir issue 3. Oh. That's still the Dark Horse one. After that, she only shows up in 2 other comics in canon, which is her dying in a vision to Kanan, and her dying in a flashback in issue 5 of Star Wars.
We need some bigger text, man. I can't even read that.
On my screen, it's huge.
It's huge on mine, too. You are also sitting in front of a TV, I'm pretty sure, right, Kachun?
Oh, it's a laptop.
Oh, it is a laptop. Okay.
Well, you got to talk to our behind-the-scenes director. He's got to be a little bit bigger, but that's fine. Hard to get good help these days.
So yeah, her first appearance is this. So she was named prior, like Quinlan names that he has an apprentice, and she's somewhere else. Doesn't say her name and such, but this you see her there, Aayla Secura, and it's.
Well, he appears in the issue before that, right? Is it?
Yes, he shows up before that. As if you refer back to her Quinlan episode, she's mostly in that entire episode. So this is all just kind of supplementary material here.
And then she clearly went through a phase of bedazzling as well, so that's nice.
And yeah, so he's Quinlan's chasing after her, trying to get her memories back. And what's interesting too is that she has a red lightsaber, and that's not at this point. It wasn't super set in stone that they can or cannot have red lightsabers.
Maybe it's pink.
I'm about to say with that coloring, maybe we're going with pink.
Well, magenta action.
That's cool. I always like that one.
Yeah. That's just the end of that. It's the first story arc she's in, and it's Twilight.
You're jackass. I can't click on it, but anyways. Oh, Batman. Okay.
Yeah.
I like these. I wanted to get these.
This is a crazy cool spread. So this is the same cover artist across these 2 story arcs, the Darkness and the Stark Hyperspace War.
Yeah.
More story arcs with her, but just awesome covers, especially that the issue 33, the second to the left on the top.
Yeah, pretty cool. Well, they're all pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. Who was the artist, Kachun? You remember the name?
We did back when we first talked about these.
Making me think back.
They keep bringing them up for the. It was for Plo Koon. It was for Aura Singh. We talked about this.
Yes. No, I can't remember.
I'll put you on the spot. I'm sorry. So yeah, these are the last issues of the Star Wars series before it transitions to Attack of the Clones. So this point here is her gaining her, essentially losing her knight status and making her way to a mastery. I love that cover on the bottom left. Issue number 44. That one's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Not a bad one. All right.
And then we got Attack of the Clones. So she shows up. Funny enough, she doesn't show up in any of the issues except issue 4. And can you tell me which shoulder she is over in this one?
Is she right here somewhere?
No, on the right.
She's in the doorway there.
In the door.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Yeah, so just hidden right over Shakti's shoulder and Kaphisto. And yeah, that's all she shows up in the entirety of the Attack of the Clones. The first movie appearance, and that's all she shows up there. And then again, this is the Tales 14, this is what I mentioned earlier as a bigger issue. It's the first moment of romance between her and Kit Fisto when they're fighting alongside each other in Camino. And yeah, he goes down and she's falling into the water, drowning, and he saves her by giving her essentially mouth to mouth in the water, giving her oxygen. And as they come back out, she's giving a little wink to him. After that, she shows back up in the in this short 2-issue arc in Republic.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, because we talked about those issues.
All
We
good.
talked about those ones. And then this one here is her first one shot.
Sorry.
Yeah, her first one shot. So that one's also pricier, I believe, now too, because of everything's pricey nowadays. It's ridiculous. I had a friend at work asking me about wanting to buy and get into reading the Dark Horse stuff, and I said buy compendiums or trades because you're never going to get the single issues for an affordable price.
No,
Yeah. Sad.
it is.
And then after that, she shows up in 2 little story arcs here, Show of Force, 2 issues in the top left there, where Mace Windu summons a little squad to do a hit. And, and that's the thing, she has some romance with Kit Fisto again. And then the other one is the leading into the obsession. So we remember that. We remember that from. I'm blanking her name.
Oh, sorry.
What's her name? The we talked about Ventress.
What?
I'm thinking like because my brain was still stuck on Aura Singh, so I'm like,
How dare you, sir?
I'm distracted. So yeah, that was a part of the same arc leading into it. And then this here is the final issue. She shows up in Republic, the Siege of Salakamani, and it's leading into episode 3. So
How many comic books covers do you think of all time that there was a reflection in some kind of blade, claw, sword,
Helmet,
there has to be
you could probably
thousands
make
of
a mural of it.
glasses?
What's the
Jesus, why
first-
is it double clicking like that? Okay.
You're fast, sure. So this one here, this is issue. It's a quick. This issue is a quick moment where we see Aayla and Quinlan say their farewells, and they're off to different parts to fight. And last time we see them together, we saw this again in the Quinlan episode, but they're pretty interconnected.
Yeah.
And then this is pretty funny because it's her death.
Funny?
It's their death in the Revenge of the Sith one, but she has a little bit more of a interaction here. She says, "It got quiet suddenly. Why? Do you think it's droids?" And he just goes, "No," and just shoots her.
Nice.
So
See, they should have left it like that. That right there is perfect. She falls down and they just blast her. That's as bad as it is. That's such a better death than the spin around that she got.
I would say it's definitely better than Barris's death on the bottom there, getting just
Right.
blasted.
Although, if I would have died, I wouldn't mind being incinerated without even knowing it, without being shocked. Because she might have survived like 5 of those.
Well, remember when Quinlan got point blank shot in the back by that same vehicle, and he lived?
Hey, my boy Kenobi, he gets shot right off of a lizard thing, and he's fine. He just keeps on going.
So this is a fun one I found while looking. These were two Dallas Comic-Con programs. So she showed up in Attack of the Clones in 2002, her first movie appearance.
What the hell is this? Was this for Mr. Lucas?
Well, here's the best part. On the left is the 2003 program, and this is the back cover on the left, and it's by Phil Noto.
Awesome.
And on the right was the 2004 program, and it was the front cover. And that one's done by Adam Hughes.
What Star Wars? Yeah. Okay, first off, I don't always go, "Wow, really, guys?" But what the hell is this? Like, wow, really? First off, this girl right here had some work done before she got here because I have never noticed this before, and and this is just outrageous. She would, if she was real and she knew that she's VIP, she'd probably hunt him down and cut him in half. Like, look at this nonsense. It's fine.
Yeah.
Keep it on the pages of Vampira or whatever her name
Vampirella.
is. Vampirella.
So yeah, then after that, it's
That's awesome.
This is her first canon appearance in the Son of Dathomir. Again, this was a Dark Horse comic, but it is actually the only comic from them to be canon based off of the fact that it was a straight adaptation of a Clone Wars arc that didn't happen. And she shows up there for one panel. That's it. Again, after that, Kanan, Last Padawan, issue 2, there's a moment when Order 66 happens, and he gets visions, and everyone gets visions to the slaughter, and that's the moment for Aayla Secura.
Can you even see her?
Yeah, I had to zoom that thing right in. It's so small. And
it's very small. Yeah, it was. I was going to add that in my thing, and I just couldn't because it was hard to get a picture that didn't get pixelated when I tried to zoom it in.
That's the thing, yeah. And then in issue 5 of the 2020 run of Star Wars.
Not used enough. These people are here. Not used enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Wow. Way to canonize her death over and over and over.
I feel like somebody in Lucas knew that he was a little bit hot for her. They're like, you know what? We're going to kill this damn girl 1,000 times over.
Now he's not involved.
Keep showing it. Because she has died 100 deaths by now in the time that other people have died once.
And yeah, so other than that, that's her comic appearances. And then leading the TV and other such, it's basically Attack of the Clones movie, followed by 3 episodes of the 2003 Clone Wars. Then, the Clone Wars animated film, as well as the most of the seasons of the 2008 Clone Wars she shows up in. Specifically, the Xylo Beast one is the best one, I would say, she's in. Followed by the first season's 2-episode arc.
Yep.
And then again, she shows up in Revenge of the Sith, and she shows up in that last text there as a voice. So,
I would say that this is one of my more disappointing characters because I think she's a badass. I think that she could have been, looking back on it, if they could have pre-planned it out, I think they would have gave her a bigger role because I think she is pretty awesome. And having to go back and retcon her made her the character that she is. And she'd be one of those ones that, I don't know. They can't do anything about it now, but if they could find a way to bring her into a story where she's helping somebody as a flashback, I would totally like to see just a little bit more of her because it seems like a disappointment. There's a lot of Jedis that are kind of disappointing because you just see them for like a second in the throne room or something, and that was it. She's one of the ones that I wish there was more of her.
Especially considering we
live on in the comic books, I guess,
and such in canon, like the Mace Windu comic. We had the Obi-Wan and Anakin one. We had all these little ones, and even funny enough, I don't remember her showing up. When I was looking through research of what comics, she doesn't show up in any of the IDW comics based on Clone Wars.
What is that noise?
I think Kachoon's moving his microphone.
Oh, yeah, it's falling off. Sorry. Let me go.
That's the news section there.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll stop that for just a second then.
But yeah, she doesn't even show up in any of the IDW stuff. So basically, it's, her role in Legends was much bigger, and it was very interesting. And it's since then, with the canon stuff, they just kind of put her on the wayside. Because obviously George wasn't involved there, so he couldn't wasn't there to help propel.
And I will show you. This sits in the main table that sits in front of my television, and I will show you. If I can get, there we go.
That was a cool little one.
And they were called Force Unleashed, and they're kind of like, they're more statues than they are figures. You can't really.
Yeah, like little dioramas.
But obviously that's pretty awesome. While you were talking there, I very rudely was looking up because I was trying to remember, because I couldn't remember exactly what. I couldn't remember exactly what was going on with her, and I was reading into this. First off, her style, I guess, probably retcon this too. The reason why she dressed like this, we know why she dressed like this, because George Lucas owned Star Wars at the time. What they try to say is because that's her style. It's kind of free flowing. She likes
it's the power. It's the power girl style where
well, she likes to kind of be free flowing. The robes didn't get in her way. Armor slowed her down, so she kind of liked this. But then they also kind of did a story where she also dressed like this because of the way her species is treated, and she wanted to kind of show that even though they're mostly looked at like this, she's a powerful Jedi who's controlling armies, and that's another reason why that she never really went for the full robes, is because of.
I was gonna say if she would like the free flow nature wearing that, I'm sure wearing super tight leather pants would really help with your movement.
Yeah, that's the George Lucas part. Like, let's not get it twisted. That's the George Lucas part. Later on, when they were looking at it, people were kind of like, well, what is this? That's when they kind of had to like switch it up a bit and be like, oh, she did this for this reason. But yeah, like I said,
essentially, she's Electra.
She's Electra. Yeah. That would be a good accident.
And I would imagine she's also probably, for as little screen time and as little as most people know about her, unless you're a really big comic book nerd, I'd imagine she's also one of the higher cosplay. Whenever I see cosplay pictures,
she's one of the most recognizable.
There's usually one of her running around somewhere inside the
Twileks. Twileks in general are very popular, and there's a few people that make those headpiece. And I think a lot of people order them.
Because isn't it just like essentially, because that part there covers the seam where it would be.
Yeah.
So it's just sitting there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's her. An amazing Jedi. Unfortunate we didn't get enough of her. But you know what? I think with the comics stuff they're doing now, they're bringing a lot more of her kind around to make up for it. Wish we could have seen a lot more than her just walk around. If you are interested, you go to YouTube and you can look her up and just type in all appearances, and you can see how much they put her in the background. It's actually surprising. You don't realize she's there until you go looking for it. In every scene, there's a blue dot walking by.
Probably one day on a green screen, they had her walking around in circles, and they just use that for the entire thing.
All right, so that's the Jedi Master. Any final thoughts about her?
More canon, I think. That's about it. I want to see more canon, and I want to see that relationship with Kit Fisto explored more.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind her. To me, there's always room because the war went on for a while. I feel like sometimes the comics and the movies, they kind of do this like, it almost seems like a month worth of fighting. And I feel like they could do little stories here and there where she could have went off and showed her badassery, and I wouldn't mind that. Wouldn't mind seeing that.